Binney y también al director de la película. Para vuestras preguntas me gustaría veo muchas bocas abiertas, también estaría bien ver muchas manos levantadas. Intentaremos atender a todas las preguntas y si os parece empiezo yo con una, así para romper un poco el hielo. Guys, is this film patriotic or nationalistic? Les pregunto si la película es patriótica o nacionalista.
I think it is a very patriotic film, but not the kind of patriotism where you're waving the flag and shouting out loud. But I think it's about some core values of our democratic societies, some principles why we are living in a free society. I think, and this was made on purpose. Yeah.
Nos comenta que para él realmente es una película patriótica, pero no una película patriótica de sacar la bandera y darle vueltas, sino de un estado de responsabilidad y un estado de conciencia de alguna manera. ¿Tenemos preguntas en la sala? A ver, ¿ahí arriba he visto una mano? ¿No? Bill, with this film, when did you guys actually decide to reveal this big, unexpected, jaw-dropping reality? Les pregunto cómo y cuándo decidieron darle forma a esta película que realmente es así, deja muchas dudas y deja las bocas muy abiertas.
I would say it was shortly after we met. Fritz invited me to Vienna to talk about the story and what was happening. And when I came there, I told him about the Thin Thread program and what was behind all of this mass surveillance and how it got to where it was. And that was the thing that got Fritz. And he said, "Holy shit!" Literally, what a story! And that point was when we decided to do it. So it was right away, really.
I mean, Bill's life is full of stories that usually are sufficient for 20 people, really. I mean, one of the scenes that we have cut out of the film, because it didn't fit with the overall storyline, is how he hacked the Soviet Union alone, single-handedly, in a 4 years effort with pencil and paper. He hacked the Soviet command and control system. And, but for me it was, from all these stories that I saw in his life and also what was coming after the FBI raid and so, the most devastating story was actually to see that this story of Thin Thread, that there was a real alternative to mass surveillance that would work, that would have worked, that would have not only prevented 9/11, but also Madrid, the Madrid bombing, the London Tube bombing, the Boston bombing, the Paris attacks, and Brussels. I think it was clear for me that this was this story, because it is the completely opposite narrative of what the government propaganda has been telling us so far.
Yeah, I'd like to
go for it. Yeah. Comenta que realmente ellos se entrevistaron y que inmediatamente Fritz entendió que bueno, Bill tenía muchísimas historias para contar, pero aparte de algunos de sus logros, como hackear, digamos, el sistema soviético, él solo, con una mano, digamos, realmente cuando escuchó esta historia dijo, esta historia tiene que ser una película, esta realidad se tiene que saber.
Yeah, I just wanted to add one thing to that. Earlier this year, I was asked to testify to the House of Lords in the UK, which I did, and I went to testify against bulk surveillance. And one of the things, one of the members of the committee said to me, after I was giving my testimony, they said, "You mean to tell me that you are here telling us that all of the members of the agencies and the government, the UK government, who have come here to testify to us have been lying to us?" And I said, yes, I guess I am. Because they are. Our government's lying to us, your government's lying to you, every government's lying to their own people. And even the parliament in the UK didn't even know what GCHQ was doing, as the Bundestag didn't understand what the BND was doing, as our Congress in the US didn't know what NSA was doing. So they've been lying to us, and I just simply admitted it.
Nos dice que realmente él se entrevistó con la Casa de los Lords en el Reino Unido y que realmente ellos le preguntaron, pero aquí han pasado muchos expertos más. ¿Qué estás diciendo? ¿Que todos los demás expertos nos han estado mintiendo? Y que él muy tranquilamente les dijo, sí, os han estado mintiendo. Al igual que en el Reino Unido realmente el Parlamento no sabe que se le miente, o en Estados Unidos el Congreso no conoce esta realidad de que realmente la información que se les facilita no es verdadera, no es completa y realmente es una falacia. Preguntas en la sala.
Hola, buenas noches. Quería preguntar, ¿podemos considerar a este señor como la persona que da la clave, no como el precursor del Big Data, pero sí el que realiza el algoritmo eficiente de cómo detectar a los malos? Y parece que es el único que lo hace bien con un ordenador pequeño y un montón de consultoras alrededor del mundo. 20 años después de todo lo que acabamos de ver, simplemente están vendiendo humo. ¿Cuál es su impresión?
He asks if we can consider you the person that literally, with a little computer and with a little budget in comparison, obviously, has really thrown down what has been told to us for so long, and what you actually think about this. I mean, what you actually think of this constant lie that we have been living in.
Well, I mean, the fundamental motivation for them to do what they have done is money. Money, and also the knowledge and power that knowledge gives you over people. Because if you think about collecting all this information on everybody in the planet, which is what they're doing, that means they have knowledge of what everybody is doing and what their life is all about, or that gives them power over them. That is, they have knowledge of how to leverage them and get them to do what they want them to do. So that's true of every member of every parliament, of every government in the world, as well as every Congress. Every congressman in the U.S., they have all that knowledge is centralized and known by the governments in the Five Eyes countries at least. But there are other countries here in Europe who are also participating and have access to that data too. So that's power over everybody on the planet. And so it's not limited to just industrial espionage. It's any kind of leverage you want over anyone. If someone in any country is doing something you don't like, you can use this data to go at them to get them to change their ways. That's how you manipulate and control the population.
Nos cuenta que realmente la principal razón para esto es una razón económica, ¿no? Mantener un sistema en el que el dinero se sigue alimentando para mantener este sistema en sí en funcionamiento, pero que realmente también lo que proporciona es un poder a través de la información muy fuerte, ¿no? Porque realmente no, cualquier persona que se te oponga, tú puedes mirar en ese gran data y buscar una manera de descalificarle, ¿no? De alguna manera, cualquier persona que tenga una línea de pensamiento contraria a quien tiene este poder, realmente es muy fácil descualificar. Más preguntas en la sala, por favor. ¿Nadie?
Creo que fue encargado de investigar el mando del ejército soviético en los años 80, para volver un poco atrás. Hay una crisis del espionaje en los 80 en la URSS, sobre todo referente a un tema. ¿Se creyeron realmente las raras galaxias, el proyecto este legendario del escudo nuclear de Reagan?
He's asking that in the 80s there was the crisis of spying within the Soviet Union, and if you think that they really believed this Star Wars-like story.
the Regan project, if you know it, you know?
No, well, I don't, but I believe they thought that we were going to do it. So that meant that they had, that's one of the things that was a benefit to us, they helped defeat them because they thought we were going to do it. So they always looked at us for technology development. Their spies were after technology as the main thrust of information they wanted to get from us. So just the fact that it was being talked about gave them the implication that we were going to do that, so they had to quicken scramble and try to match us, you see. So that helped defeat them, okay?
Nos dice que realmente, no sabe si se lo creyeron o no, pero que realmente el miedo de alguna manera les hizo subir su propia apuesta de alguna manera, ¿no? Y entonces pues contraponerse sacando pecho, ¿no? De alguna manera. Más preguntas en la sala. Okay, guys.
Good evening. I would like to know, you said there were 5 indicators that came before every event. Which are these 5 indicators? And the second question is, does this synthread still exist somewhere?
I can translate the question first. Nos preguntan que en la película menciona que hay 5 indicadores de cada uno de estos desastres y cuál de ellos sería.
First of all, the 5 indicators, that's classified. So I can't tell you that, okay. But I can say this much about it. It was their doctrine. It was right out of their doctrine. And it was also dealing with metadata. So that's as far as I can go with that. As far as Thinthread, they made sure they destroyed everything that was related to it, so there was no alternative to bulk acquisition. And that was their objective. They wanted to commit the bulk acquisition because it cost 100 times as much to do a bulk acquisition as it did to do a thin thread targeted approach. So they wanted the money, they wanted to build an empire, they wanted to gain knowledge on everybody on the planet. That gave them money, power, and control. And that's really what they were after.
Respecto a los 5 indicadores, nos dice que son clasificados y que realmente no puede exponerlos, digamos, aunque esté en esta misión de dar a conocer este otro punto de vista, y que luego realmente sobre el sistema en sí, que fueron muy rápidos en taparlo, ¿no? De alguna manera descalificarlo y sacarlo un poco de la ecuación, porque eso lo que les daba era un plano muy abierto, muy fácil para hacerse con los diferentes grados del poder. Creo que teníamos otra pregunta por la zona.
Sí, yo quería preguntar, después del final de la película que cuenta todo el lío que pasa con el FBI, ¿qué es lo que sucede después? Si sigue trabajando con la compañía y con sus 2 colegas, y si cree que con la película va a cambiar algo, la percepción.
He's asking us that once the film is coming to the end, the part of the FBI, which were the next steps after that, and what is your real opinion of what can be changed? Can something be changed with this film?
Yeah, the next steps after the FBI for the next year and a half, or 2 years, I'm sorry, through 2009 up to 2010, the Department of Justice took over and they threatened to prosecute us, or attempted to do it 3 separate times, fabricating evidence every time. And at each time, see, I know these people, so I know how they operate. So I was able to defeat them because I had evidence to the contrary to make them look ridiculous if they charged us with those cases. And the final time, the final attempt at charging us with false information, I threatened them with malicious prosecution, which is a felony, and also perjury in the court of law, and fabricating, framing people is another felony. You know, so there's several felonies I was charging them with, and I made it known to them that I was going to do that if they took me to court. And within a month of making that declaration, they gave me a letter of immunity. So going from being charged to unsolicited letter of immunity, I might add. So I didn't ask for it, they gave it. So, I mean, it shows you the shallow fabrication and just the criminality of these people. They'll go to any extreme to shut you up, that's all. And it doesn't matter whether you think you're doing anything right or wrong. It doesn't matter what you think. It's only what they think that matters. And if they think you're doing something wrong, they'll come after you.
Nos cuenta que realmente tras el caso con el FBI se encontraron con el disgusto de que vieron que en 3 ocasiones intentaron construir pruebas para hacerles parecer culpables a ellos. Obviamente él conoce las artes de estas instituciones y fue muy hábil y muy rápido en deshacer estas pruebas y además dejar bien claras que eran unas pruebas construidas, lo cual es un delito en sí. Y además, como llevo un par de días acompañando a Bill, de manera muy inteligente llamó a una persona que sabía que el FBI le había cortado o intervenido el teléfono, con lo cual, semanas más tarde, sin haberlo pedido, realmente recibió una carta de inmunidad, cosa que es excepcional y que para él dejaba muy claro la jugarreta que estaban haciendo de alguna manera. Más preguntas, creo que he visto alguna mano por... Sí, aquí.
Creo que preguntó si consideraba que la película iba a cambiar.
Yes, I would love to.
So in America, so let's last year in May, I met a guy who had read the report mentioned in the film, the one where everything was like blanked out. And he had read the entire report. And he told me that this was the most important story of the past decade. And it needed to get out. Because then this house of cards of this mass surveillance empire will collapse. And he also told me that every word of this film was true. And he told me this in public, so you can find it on YouTube. And the thing that he is currently doing is he has filed a FOIA request, Freedom of Information request, in the US to release this document. So that's once the first thing that we are, or next thing that we are doing in America is we are launching a political campaign in his support to put public pressure on the US government to release this report, at least those parts that are marked unclassified.
That's the vast majority.
That's like 80% of the report.
That's
And in Europe, we are in contact with the European Parliament to launch an official investigation into alternatives to mass surveillance. To fix this. We need to fix this on a European level. Because it's not just the technology. The technology has been resolved 15 years ago, and when this document, when Bill did it, but this is also a legal issue. And we need to fix the legal side of it. Because currently you have the 3 branches of power. So you have the executive branch, the legislative branch, which is the parliament, the executive branch is the government, and you have the parliaments, and then you have the judicial branch, the court system. And currently all these tools are allocated with the executive branch. But this gives a tremendous power overreach to the executive branch, to the government, to the Ministry of the Interior over the rest. And so we need to relocate some of these powers, like the power to decide who are the targets must reside with the parliament. And there needs to be an efficient control in the parliament about what the government is doing with these tools. And these tools can only be used if they are going through the ordinary court system, which means they need to get a warrant before they do this search, this data search. A data search is like a house search, and they need to adhere to the same principles. I know this was much.
Nos comenta que el reporte que se menciona en la película en sí, él se entrevistó con una persona que lo había leído de pe a pa, ¿no? Que conocía el reporte en su totalidad y que realmente esta persona le dijo que esta historia era la historia más importante que había que contar de la última década, que era necesario que saliese al público y que era necesario que muchísima gente supiese esa verdad. Entonces, en Estados Unidos han empezado una campaña política para pedir, digamos, al Congreso y al Gobierno, digamos, que se haga un voto de apertura o libertad de expresión para que realmente el público real pueda conocerlo. A la par, esto quizás sería como un 80% de lo que tienen en mente como acción a continuación de la película, En Europa realmente lo que están viendo o intentando ver es, junto con el Parlamento Europeo, conseguir que realmente el aspecto legal de este tipo de procedimientos cambie, ¿no? Porque ahora mismo el poder de decisión cae mucho sobre el Ejecutivo y, sin embargo, si lo pensamos de manera un poco más objetiva, el analizar a una persona, la data de una persona, el comportamiento de una persona, realmente es una cosa que debería tener una autorización legal. El aspecto legal en torno a la privacidad es muy importante y entonces es la única manera que en un territorio amplio, digamos, se regule de alguna manera, ¿no? Que no caiga solamente en una parte del poder, sino que tenga que pasar por varias de ellas para que realmente se monitorice y se conozca de otra manera. Creo que teníamos una mano... Sí.
Hablando del lado oscuro de esta historia, yo me hago la pregunta, Bin Laden fue un personaje que se le escapó al servicio secreto norteamericano, fue creado, ¿cómo surgió? Si los servicios secretos sabían de su existencia antes del 11 de septiembre, ¿y qué sabían de él?
Looking into the darker side of the story, he would like to know if Bin Laden is a real character, if it is an invented character, if the information services, secret services actually knew about this and how it was not controlled before.
I would say that Bin Laden, of course, was he had a whole network, and we knew that network before 9/11. So that was well known. In fact, we knew his, as I said, I think in the movie, we knew his Inmarsat phone number, and were following him for 2 years at least, and what he was planning, what he was doing, and who he was talking to. So we had his whole network from that, and that we knew all the way into. In fact, the terrorists that came in from Kuala Lumpur to from a terrorist conference they had out there. We also had the Malaysian intelligence telling us that they were coming our way. So we had that, and we knew these people, and we knew where they fit in the terror network. So, I mean, nothing was surprised here.
Nos dice que el personaje de Bin Laden realmente sí era identificado, sus redes eran identificadas, se conocía de sus movimientos, incluso en el caso del 11S, cuando despegaron los terroristas viniendo de una reunión entre un grupo terrorista que estaba identificado, se sabía que venían, los servicios secretos de Malasia también anunciaron que venían y que realmente eso es una de las pruebas más grandes de que el sistema no funciona. Aparte de eso, porque realmente cuando la información está ahí pero no se hace nada, realmente significa que no funciona. ¿Qué más? Okay, so I would like you to explain to us a little bit how people that have identified in this cinema theatre can interact with your project, can support your project, can give more voices and more ears to your project.
Please speak about the film. Tell other people that there is this story that has never been told before, and that is very important that it gets known. And the second thing is, as soon as we have the petitions out, so in the European case, the petition to the European Parliament to set up an official investigation into alternatives to mass surveillance, please sign the petition. We will have it on our website, goodamerican.org. That's our website. And this is also where you will find updated information. Join us on Facebook, join us on Twitter, spread the word about the film and the story. I think that's the most important thing you can do at the moment. And with the petition to the European Parliament, I think very likely we will wait until September, and the film comes to cinemas regularly in Spain, in France, in the UK, in Italy, and Benelux and other countries, so that we have that people have a chance to see the film and sign the petitions.
Le preguntaba para un poco darle continuidad a su misión, porque esto no es solamente una película, es una misión. ¿Cómo se puede apoyar más? ¿Cómo se puede saber más? ¿Qué puede hacer cualquiera de vosotros que esta historia le haya interesado y que realmente quiere dar un poco de apoyo, ¿no? Y me comenta que principalmente quiere que habléis de la película, que le habléis a otra gente de la película, que le recomendéis ver la película a otra gente y que luego más adelante, cuando salgan las peticiones para el Parlamento Europeo, que realmente ayudéis a difundirlas, que ayudéis a firmarlas, que realmente lo apoyéis de una manera que no sea simplemente una película.
Just that if there is any people that are interested in the technology and how to do a targeted approach, we'll be documenting that on also the website. Part of it's out there, and we're giving it to everybody so that they too can develop their own targeted approach if they want, under the principles that we outlined, which gives you the logic of how to approach it. We also have grander scale logic that will be laying out the entire enterprise if they want to organize their entire enterprise to go at it that way, so that they don't have to go around asking people. We're going to give them the process of how to do it or what to do, and they can take it from there. So they don't need us to do it.
Bill nos comenta que realmente para quienes quieran saber más de la tecnología en sí, cómo funciona, cómo se desarrolló, cómo se lleva a cabo, digamos, que por favor visitéis también para conocer más del proyecto y cómo va avanzando, que visitéis su página web, documental.org, porque aquí se explica desde la manera más sencilla hasta la manera más técnica y más detallada. Aparte de eso, que realmente esta es una historia para la gente, no es una historia para las instituciones, y solo tiene significado cuando lo apoya la gente. Guys, I think that when people watch your film, and you've actually mentioned it to me as well, many people analyze it towards themselves, towards their own data exposure, towards how they share information about their life. What would be your recommendation, as in how you do it yourself, or just a few tips towards how to correct this certain behavior? Le pregunto, que realmente esto es algo que me han comentado y han comentado en la prensa con varias de las entrevistas, que mucha gente cuando ve la película realmente se lo lleva a su propio terreno, ¿no? Se pregunta a sí mismo, yo exhibo mucha información sobre mí mismo, me expongo mucho públicamente, y le pido pues un poco unas recomendaciones o cuáles son sus maneras de operar para realmente interactuar con redes sociales, con información que publicamos sobre nosotros mismos, la manera que realmente nos exhibimos públicamente y compartimos la información personal de cada uno de nosotros.
I personally refuse to change. Okay, I'm going to continue doing my life the way I want to do it. It's not me that has to change, it's my government. They changed to the bad side. They took the dark path. I need to get them, as a citizen, stand up and get them to change back to the righteous path.
Nos dice que él cree que él no debe cambiar, él no es quien ha hecho algo mal, son los gobiernos, son las entidades de poder las que han cogido el camino equivocado, el camino oscuro, y que realmente él cree que el cambio debe ser de este otro lado. Would you like to add something first there?
Don't vote for people who support mass surveillance. Very simple. Don't vote for them. Kick their asses out of office. On every level. In your city, in your region, in your country, and on the European level. Kick the asses. Because that's the point. They've been lying to us for 15 years. People have been dying for money, for fucking money.
Muy tajante en su respuesta, que realmente es decisión nuestra, que no votemos por nadie que permite la vigilancia masiva, que realmente lo hagamos en todas las escalas que podamos, desde el poder local hasta el poder nacional o el poder continental, que realmente es una cosa que nosotros mismos debemos decidir, que no demos el voto, no demos el poder a la gente que ha estado haciendo este horror durante 15 años y que realmente ha costado muchísimas vidas. Guys, I think that another very important aspect of the film is how can any person that has watched this film, that is going to reflect about what you show in your film, how can we raise the interest, the public interest towards privacy, the public interest towards mass information management? Le pregunto que realmente mucha gente cuando ve esta película se empieza a hacer muchas preguntas sobre su propia privacidad, preguntas sobre el interés público y el conocimiento público sobre la vigilancia masiva, y a ver cómo opina él que podemos hacer cada uno de nosotros, aunque sea en algo pequeño, hacer que el interés público sobre estos temas sea mayor.